Welcome to the Crawford County Fairgrounds, and we are talking today about the 75th anniversary of the Crawford County Fair. I'm Dwayne Kohler, and joining me is Dean Maynard, Dean, President of the Crawford County Fair.
Yes, sir.
So, the 75th anniversary, that's remarkable. I mean, give us a big picture here.
Well, it is remarkable. It's really our 76th year without our fair last year. So this year's been I hate to use the phrase, the new normal, but everything's been planned and refocused and then gone back to the drawing board, drawn up again. So there's constant state of change. We're moving forward. We're trying to bring back as much of the past as we can, looking forward to the future. If you follow the Meadville Tribune or the Fair Association News, we have decided to scale back a great deal this year. We're not going to have the national touring groups that come out of a variety of attractions, like we had Brad Paisley scheduled and a couple other big singers coming. We canceled those just because of the fear of the large crowd. So without those as part of the fair, we had to have some kind of a draw to get people here. So of course, if you followed the news, we've offered free admission for everybody coming in this year. We're giving a reduction in vendor fees to get as many food vendors and other vendors on the fairgrounds. So, our plan is to have a large celebration, get the county back together. We've been apart for 18 months and we're kind of raring to go.
So I typically come to the fair and sometimes go to a concert or whatever, but typically all the things, go to the different food
Sure.
spots, check out all the different exhibits and so on. Is there one big attraction you think that really draws folks in?
We did an online survey a year ago about what people really came to the fair for. And other than the big name entertainment, I mean, of course, they get a lot of fanfare. People really encouraged us to continue the Derby. The Demolition Derby, we're having that. The truck and tractor pulls will be scheduled at different, scaled back somewhat and different times to keep the crowd size down in the grandstand. But the things people want, they want to see kids in their livestock. They want to have local food vendors. They want to come for the ice cream. They want to come for the hot sausage, and they want to come and see the exhibits. So we were able to work with our department chairs and scale back as much as we can that process. I mean, as you know, it's a year. People spend a year getting ready for the fair with their arts and crafts and things they want to enter. The kids spend most of a year in 4-H and just on a family farm getting livestock ready. So those are big attractions, and we're gonna have all that this year.
So I live about a half mile away. Whenever the night comes up, when it's the tractor and truck pull, we can hear it clear as a bell from my house.
Oh, yes.
The other thing too is whenever the big concert comes on, then the traffic is like getting home from work and all that kind of stuff is a little tricky. So actually that's kind of a plus maybe
Sure.
for some of the neighbors this year. So talk about overall. So what
overall the difference in this year's fair than the past recent fairs, I can't go back 50 years, but about 15 to 20 years. We're going to open with a celebration for the 75th with fireworks like on an opening night to call people's attention to the fair instead of having the last night.
Awesome.
So people are thinking, hey, the fair sounds exciting. Let's get up there at some point this week instead of as a closure. We're trying to bring back the Queen contest. We wanted to shift from a pageantry event to more of an ambassador for agriculture and fairs across Pennsylvania. We've opened that contest up to the surrounding counties around Crawford County. A lot of county fairs are opening it to a statewide competition. We didn't want to take that big leap, but we did open it up to the surrounding counties around Crawford. Again, just the vendors, getting vendors in and involved and excited about being out and doing business again in a large scale event. We're looking forward to that. We're going to have a lot of activities on the West End stage, to keep crowd sizes down. We got some local groups coming in for music and just entertainment purposes. We're going to have a theme for each day. We're still working on the details of many of those themes. One theme that comes to mind is like a career day for kids and people who might be out of work or looking to regroup and refocus. We're going to have some local universities. The Northern Pennsylvania Regional College will be here represented to talk about relearning, learning, awesome. the need for a more trained workforce and what kind of areas are booming. Penn State University is going to bring some speakers up and talk about the business of agriculture, which Crawford County Fair is a huge agricultural event, so that ties in nicely, and we're excited to bring that on board.
One of the things that I don't know, maybe folks don't think about, but the fairgrounds, it's getting active all year, all summer long, and even through the winter things happen here at the Crawford County Fair. Talk about that for a second, if you will.
Yeah, we've had, the Fair Association only runs the fairgrounds for the week before the fair, the week of the fair, and pretty much the week after as we clean up and put things away. But the commissioners in the county run the fairgrounds otherwise throughout the year. So let's look at those 49 and a half weeks. There are things like, there are weddings here. I know last year there were at least 4 weddings that I knew of here. There was a dinosaur drive-through event here a couple weeks ago. They came right down this road and drove through a dinosaur display. There's a WPRD, Western Pennsylvania Riding and Driving Club, that has 5 or 6 show weekends here. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There's always something here. Someone's using the building for one purpose or another.
This past weekend there was a huge horse show. There were tons of trailers and horses every place. A week or 2 before that, Westmead Township uses the fairgrounds for their Westmead cleanup day, so they have dumpsters and
it's a busy place.
There's always, it seems like there's always something going on at the fairgrounds.
Place, yes.
The property itself. How do you decide whenever a building's getting too old, we got to get rid of that building, we got a new building? Is
that's a good question. This year we wrote a grant working with the Buildings and Grounds Foundation for the fairgrounds, and Walmart gave us a $3,000 grant to help us put together like a sustainability plan to look across the buildings and look at the infrastructure, the things that need done. So with that study, we'll have some recommendations for our maintenance department and for the Fair Association where we should prioritize and what order to take care of things. As you look around, buildings are, they're not 75 years old like we are, but they're aging, and the Northwest Pennsylvania weather is not kind to metal, steel, shingle, whatever you want to look at, plywood, OSB. So there's a lot of work that needs done on a regular basis.
Let me clarify one thing. So Crawford County Fair, I've heard in the past, is the largest county fair everywhere east of the Mississippi
River? No, it's the largest agricultural fair. Other than, east of the Mississippi. Yeah.
Now, there's other bigger fairs, but they aren't like a county fair. They're something else.
Correct.
And so this is something that's
and they don't have the massive livestock that we have.
I mean, it's very unique. I mean, this is something that's outrageously unique here, in Crawford County. Yep. But it makes sense for it to be in Crawford County, because that's kind of what it's like here, right? I mean,
the only biggest agriculture event in Pennsylvania is the farm show. We're second to the farm show, which is a great place to be.
I went there one time, and I've been to the Crawford County Fair. Let's see, I'm 60, so I've probably been to the Crawford County Fair probably 60 times. So and this is what a fair is supposed to be.
This is what a fair is supposed to be, right.
So I go past the other, the Erie County Fairgrounds and stuff like that, and it's it's just something different. It's just something different.
Right.
So talk about some of the events that are going to happen this year. There's going to be the harness racing.
Harness racing on the opening couple of days, yeah.
Okay.
The 75th celebration will be Sunday night with a recognition, of course, on the stage, someplace near the grandstand. They're going to dedicate the building here on Sunday evening too, as part of the 75th celebration. Fireworks later that evening. We're hoping to crown a queen that same day, and then throughout the week again, there's a theme for each day. There's activities going on related to that theme. There's the vendors that will be here all week long. The Demolition Derby on Saturday, probably 2 performances like usual. A lot of things for kids to do. The garden tractor pole is coming. The pedal tractor races are coming.
And there's still going to be the things like the 4-H competitions.
All the 4-H events. I think there's, Kenny, maybe there's like 75 horse classes down there over 3 days. Horses compete, draft and riding, and saddle horses do the same thing. Of course, the sheep activities, the wool stuff, the goat milking, all those things are going to happen in the 4-H events. And the dairy barn has a lot of activity for their kids and families.
And it's always in a special favor whenever there's a bunch of baby pigs, right?
Sure,
that always seems to attract people when you walk over. It's got to check the baby. Check out the baby pigs.
Display of baby pigs this year. We're guaranteed to have that. And then Friday night's a typical 4-H livestock auction.
Okay.
The sale, the sheep and the pigs and the cattle. So that'll be a hybrid, virtual and in person. So that's an interesting approach to take. And to get those kids as much money as they can get for those animals.
So for down the road, years in the future coming down the road, do you think there's going to be new things that might be showing up at the Crawford County Fair?
If we set this year aside, it's a planning process. As we get new and younger members involved in the fair board and different attractions that are more likely to travel and come to Meadville, I think the opportunities are endless as long as we can sustain the activity through local support, and that's a challenge.
Everything at the fairgrounds itself, we mentioned before about the buildings, and some get old and some, and a new plan for that. Sure. Are there things in the works? Are there plans in the works for?
Yeah, if you notice, this year we just updated the milking parlor inside the dairy barn.
I did notice that.
We put a new wash rack in for the draft horse department. We're looking at a new roof on the poultry building down here. That's probably the worst roof on the fairgrounds. We've got that identified. We're looking forward to, we put some sand and gravel in the horse arena down there just because, like you said, this weekend, I mean, you get a lot of competitors in there. That goes fast. I think there's always a project. There's always something that needs done. We put some steel on the side of the racehorse barn as you come in the main driveway up inside gate 3. That was kind of an eyesore. We fixed that. The maintenance crew here is doing that now, actually putting some nice white steel on there, making it look good. There's always work to do in the track. You got harness racing in there. You got truck and tractor pulls. You got demolition derby. You know, something's always getting upset, so you got to keep all that flat. And then when the harness racing goes on, the angle has to be just perfect on those turns. So there's always something to do there. We just keep upgrading. The county put security cameras in this year with some of the COVID relief funds that we had to keep the building safe. So that's something new that we're doing.
Great.
Monitoring, 18 cameras for safety and security reasons. There's always change and growth.
Well, so let me ask you, now this is going to be kind of a weird question, but what would your pitch be to someone who's, maybe new to Crawford County or maybe new to the area or whatever, and it's like, get them to come out to the fair?
Sure.
What would the pitch be?
First of all, I'd like them to come and take advantage of the local food vendors that are here, see the experts that we have with our family farms in the area. People say they're going away, not in Crawford County. The passion's still there for a family farm. Kids are doing a great job with their projects. And I'd say once you have a taste of the fair, you're going to want to come back, so think about being a volunteer. Across the state of Pennsylvania and the country, volunteers are more and more difficult to find. And we are like everybody else. We need volunteers. We need people who want to help and have the passion to keep the fair going.
So, Dean, thank you very much for being with us here. I think things are great at the Crawford County Fair. 75 years. I can't wait for the next 75 years of this.
Me neither. All right. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Joyce Jacobs, and I work here at the Fallowfield United Methodist Church stand. We have had our stand here for, I think it'll be 65 years next year. And so I have worked here ever since I was 12 years old. We have 2 shifts at the fair and 3 shifts baking pies. We're known for our homemade pies. We make between 1,800 and 2,000 every year of like 13 or 14 different kinds. And so it's just a good fellowship together. We have a wonderful time and get to work with people that we don't usually get to see. And all of this, we give the money to missions, so we give it all away, everything that we make, both locally and across the oceans. And so it's just a great project, and it involves a lot of people because we have extended family and friends, lots of people that help with this project, for which we're so thankful because we couldn't do it on our own. We're a little country church from Atlantic, but we've had this for a long, long time.
And joining us now, Arndt Gatchell, the mayor of the Midway. So give us a little history there. Tell us that story.
Well, I started out probably, I think about 1958, when we, as a Dick Hose Fire Company, we bought a 10 by 20 garage from Montgomery Ward when they were on Chestnut Street.
Sure.
And from there on, the Dick Hose run it for probably 4 or 5 years, and then another fellow and I, we bought it from the fire company, and him and I lasted 2 years, and he went west, and I took over and been there since. And of course, I got out here probably 7 or 8 years ago. I got rid of it, getting more than I could handle, and the help wasn't as good as you'd like to have it. How well you know that. And
well, let's talk a little history here. What's it been like? Now, you mentioned 1958. I didn't come around. I wasn't born until the year after that. But I've been coming to the fair since I was a little kid, and every year from about, I can remember, maybe about 3 years old or more, I can remember coming to the fair ever since then. So I can't remember those first, 15 years or so, something like that. So give us some history.
Well, it's a lot different. The Midway was dirt. They had no water lines and no sewer system. All the restaurants, they had 55-gallon drums buried for their water, and Charlie Parle was in the business, which he still is today, but he'd come along, he'd pump them out twice a day, and if it overflowed, it overflowed. I guess we'd get a little more sawdust and cover it up and keep on going. And everybody seemed to help everybody else when they needed a little hand doing this and that and the other stuff. It was a good fair, still a good fair. I enjoy coming, but I don't get around like I'd like to, but that goes with nature.
Talk about the fair kind of in general. To me, it's something that almost is kind of almost like an identity thing for Crawford County. To me, now, what do you think?
Well, it has come a long way, and everything that's been added to it has been a plus. And all the old timers that put in the hours to get it where it is today, they certainly need a lot of appreciation for their efforts of what they did. And they did it because they loved doing it. They just liked getting here and meeting with their friends and chewing the fat and whatever you wanted to do. You know? So we had some good experiences and a lot of fun. Everybody seemed to get along pretty good, and I think they still do today. Of course, everybody has their own little battles with each other, but in the long run, it's all pans out, and the fair goes on, and everybody has a good time, hopefully. So.
The nature of the Midway, I mean, you mentioned what it was like early on. Seems to me that's the place where everybody seems to want to come to whenever they come to the fair. Is that right?
That's just about the size. They'd like to look around and see all the different games and eating stands. Everybody had a little specialty they did on, and there was one fellow there that called Freddie the String Man. He had the best concession on the Midway. All there was a string and a nickel. You pull the string and you get what was on the end of it. So then we had a fellow here by the name of Arndt. He made donuts up right in front of one of the buildings here. He made donuts and made them right there in the grounds. So yeah, there's a lot of the old timers. Of course, most of them are gone by now. And that's about the best I can do for you.
You mentioned the eating stands. I would say a lot of folks, myself and my family included, it's like that's something that's really looked forward to is coming over and you know, maybe everybody's got their favorite thing that they get every year at the fair. I don't know. Am I right about that?
Oh yes. The Methodist Church used to have a tent. They put up a tent. Matter of fact, where the American Legion bingo is today, there was the Methodist Church, and it was all home-cooked meals there, and that place was crowded. And Charlie Pearl, he had a cafeteria. It was loaded too. You know, everybody seemed to come to the fair to eat, which was good for all the eating establishments, mine included.
Well, my favorite thing is sausage, and you know, yeah, my daughter, my wife, they've all got their favorite thing. We come every year, and we split up at dinner time. Everybody goes and picks out their favorite thing. We get back together and have that, and I don't think we're the only ones that do that.
No, you're not. Everybody had their own things to do, but they all seem to get back together and enjoy the fair.
And another thing is getting around and checking out all the awesome animals that are you know, stocked from kind of every type, you know, that's around our local farms here in the area. They're all here.
And the big hit is when the sow had a litter of pigs down there, and everybody congregated down there and watched all them little pink things running around.
Gotta see the baby pigs, yeah. Gotta see the baby pigs, right.
Yeah, the kids come and talk about that, so that was one of the big things.
It seems like a lot of horses show up for the Crawford County Fair, too.
There is a lot of horse shows. There's a lot of shows during the week through here. They just had one here this weekend, and there's a tremendous amount of horses during the week of the fair. They put up, 4 or 5 tents, plus all the buildings that already have them. They're a big part of the Crawford County Fair. They have ever since I've known them. And
I know some of our neighboring counties around, you know, they have their fair. It's nothing like the Crawford County Fair. The Crawford County Fair is a whole different thing.
It is. It's good. It's a good fair, and it's been run real well too. Everybody seems to do their own part, and everybody gets along, or they don't get along and still get along. So.
What would you think for down the road? What do you think is going to be happening for down the road for the fair?
I look for it to be just as good as it is now. And the people in the community, they still support it, and all the people enjoy coming to it, and whatever there is now, we'll get by and have another one.
Gotta be something that's, now last year with the pandemic and the fair being postponed and all that kind of stuff, that just probably drove everybody nuts. But 75 years, that's amazing. I mean, that's really something.
That is a long time. That is a long time. Yep. But I enjoyed every one of them.
Well, as I mentioned before, I had to miss the first couple because I wasn't around yet. But certainly it's been a whole lifetime thing for me. I've enjoyed the fair for my whole life and look forward to all the years coming up and all the things coming down the road. So,
It'll be here. It'll be here. It'll be just as good as it has been.
The fairgrounds itself, it just keeps, improving and, okay, something gets old, so we get rid of that and, we get something in there to take its place or whatever. Am I wrong about that?
No, everything keeps moving on. It's like evolution. What's here today might be gone tomorrow and something else will grow in its spot.
But we've got the fairgrounds and that's kind of set up for that.
Yeah.
One thing that's going to be, I think, Crawford County is more of a rural county, and there's a lot of agricultural things that go on here. So I would think this is the perfect venue, the perfect opportunity to kind of display that and to, get it out there and let everybody know. And the 4-H and all the things for the kids, that kind of gives them a chance to get their feet wet, get involved in all this kind of stuff. Am I right about that?
You're 100% correct on that, and it seems certain things seem to be getting bigger and then other things kind of pass away, but something new most of the time, there's something new coming on, so yeah.
I'm not sure we're ever gonna not need to have agriculture. We're gonna, still gonna need to have some cows and horses and growing all those things. We're gonna need to have that no matter what.
We gotta have the animals, and we got to have all the vegetables and the flowers, and we gotta have everything to make it a fair. If you don't have one part, you don't have a fair. And I think the people that are running it, they're doing a good job at it, and I wish them well, and I hope they keep on going.
Well, Art, thanks for being with us today.
You're entirely welcome. I had enjoyed it.
Hi, my name is Ron Yoakum. I'm from Townville, Pennsylvania. This is next year, 2020, be our 40th year of being a concession person at the Crawford County Fair. I started out in 4-H when I was 9 years old, showing breeding sheep, and things have escalated over the years, and we got in the concession business. I showed vegetables when I was a 4-H member also, and we still currently show exhibition poultry here at the fair. So the Crawford County Fair has always been an important thing for us to do and participate, and see friends, neighbors. It's a great activity for families. It's a family-involved event that you can come and mingle and enjoy yourself.
And joining us now, Linda Gatchell. Linda, tell us about all the stuff that's involved in getting the fair going here.
Well, I don't know all of it, but I know that my husband, he goes around and he makes sure that all the flags are up and banners and that, and he marks off all the water spigot places so that nobody hits them, which usually has happened. And what a mess. Yeah, and I don't know, he just makes sure that the vendors are all taken care of. I know that there's a special guy for that, but he goes and makes sure that everybody has their spots and are happy where they're at.
So let me get your opinion here. What do you think of the Crawford County Fair? I mean, to me, it's something that's very much what Crawford County is kind of like all about here. What do you think?
I love it. I've been up here with Art for, 35 years now. Of course, he's been here longer. But I enjoy seeing the people every year. I think it's a gathering place for people. And I know the animals and that mean a lot to the people and, the farmers and that. I understand that. But and the little kids love it.
For sure, for sure.
But I think it's quite a gathering place for people to come and see each other once a year. I mean, if they don't see anybody, they usually meet up here.
It's funny that you mentioned that you remind me every once, so maybe I don't see former friends and people I went to school with and all that kind of stuff, but I see them at the fair,
Always.
So you see them, that week in August, so you get to see them again.
Right.
So.
And then we became friends with, we call them the Carnies, but they traveled with the fair and the old people that came in originally, the Stevens family, and that they were really good people. I mean, they just, I don't know, they had families too, and they understood. And some of our kids even ran around. We used to let the kids run around the fair together. Of course, I wouldn't do that nowadays. Younger
things
kids,
are a little different nowadays.
They are different.
The fair is something that it almost seems like everybody from Crawford County, they know it's coming, they plan for it, they come out, and it's
they do.
Last year with the pandemic thing and no fair, that was just devastating. I mean,
Yeah, that was sad.
Oh, wow.
That was sad.
I'm glad that's over with.
Me too. But like you say, they plan for it. I mean, you take a look at the trailers that are all down around the 4-H and that. They're loaded. I mean, because people have, the farmers and that, they've saved up their money for that week. They want to come up here and enjoy, see everybody. They take care of their animals. And of course, they'd like to win that first prize. Yeah, and go to the auction and
I mean, I just live down around the corner, and I go past the fairgrounds probably 4 or 5 times a week, and it seems like almost every weekend throughout the summer months, there's an event going on. There's a horse show. There's, anyway, there's something going on all the time, and it's like, I couldn't imagine there not being the Crawford County Fairgrounds here.
Yeah, and I got to give them kudos for the amount of time that it's been used this year. Even though, things weren't real good, but they used it for dance recitals, weddings, and that's great.
And over the winter, you can park your camper and you can park your boat
Yeah.
there. And keep it, so it's, when you think of the big picture, it's quite the asset to Crawford County.
Yeah, everybody talks about it.
Well, just to give us a big picture, how do you what do you think about the fairs coming up here and the 75th anniversary? That's just, to me, that's just a wonderful thing.
Definitely. I wish it could be the whole fair this year, being the 75th, but we're doing with what we have.
Things are coming back. Maybe
Right.
not everything's coming back 100% this year,
And
but it'll be back. I mean, it'll be back eventually. And
it's slow like everything else coming back. We can't put it all together in a matter of a few months
Yeah.
to get it the way it was. It takes too much work.
Sure.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, Linda, thanks for being with us here.
Well, thank you for having me.
How you doing, folks? This is Campy's Pizza. I am Angelo. This is Dominic Campy's. We've been working here for about 40 years. We love the Crawford County Fair. It's a very nice fair, and lots of food, lots of games. And anytime you guys come down, you're welcome to Campy's Pizza. It's a very good pizza, Italian, Sicilian, and we enjoy it very much. Right, Dom?
Yep.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
And joining us now, Sally Counternick. So, Sally, what building are we in here? What happens in this building?
This is exhibit building number 1, and I'm the chairperson of the Family Living Department, and that takes, we have 8 sections. We have the canned goods, the baked goods, needlework, wall hangings, quilts, afghans, clothing, cushions, toys, and miscellaneous. And we usually have about 2,000 entries.
I know when my wife and daughter and I, when we come, this is always where they want to come first.
Yeah.
So I suppose that's a popular spot. It seems to be anyways at my house.
Yeah. We have a nice quilting display, the quilts, and we have the Far Star Homemaker, which started in 1986. Grace and Ivan Rose brought back the idea from a fair when they were down in Florida, and Phyllis Rollader was our first four-star homemaker, and that's our highest award. But we do have sponsors in every section, and they sponsor awards, and the Family Living Department sponsors awards too. And we have a ceremony on Wednesday, and the award winners come and get their awards and get their picture taken, and that's when we also present the four-star homemaker award.
Talk about that homemaker thing for a second. What are all the components? What are all the things you got to sort of be really good at to be the champ there?
Okay, they can enter 12 items. They enter 3 items in canned goods, 3 items in baked goods, 3 items in the needlecraft, and 3 items in the clothing. They have to win in each section to win the award.
Wow.
And they have a point system. The blue ribbons are 20 points, red ribbons 15, and white ribbons 10. And the one with the most points wins. And if there's a tiebreaker, it's the one with the most ribbons, both blue ribbons. And then they have, if that's still a tie, then it's the one with the most red ribbons. And they have a series of tiebreakers.
Okay.
And the very last one is a flip of a coin.
now, I know that's kind of a big deal. I mean,
Yeah.
that's folks that really get into that here,
Yeah.
right?
People that do these kinds of crafts, they when they come to enter, and we take entries Friday evening from 3 to 8 and Saturday morning from 8 to 11. They come, and we have a little canopy out there on the side, and they can drop their entries off. They drive by, drop their entries off there, go park their cars and come back. When they come, they bring baked goods, canned goods, needlecraft, quilts, whatever they've made. They also bring things for the flowers and the vegetable departments too.
Okay.
So it's a big, we have a lot of entries.
So now, just for the other things that go on in this, how do you enter? How do you is it complicated?
Well, now they're entering online.
Okay.
And I think they're shutting off the entries August 14th this year, but I'm not sure. But you have to go to the fair website and enter your entry.
Okay. I mean, typically, when you say fair, you think of horses and cows and pigs and that kind of stuff. This kind of stuff really, like as I said before, really interests my family, and I'm sure lots of other folks too. So there's a lot that goes on at the Crawford County Fair.
Oh yes, yes.
What's down the road? What do you think's how's it gonna be? This past year's been crazy with, what's it gonna be like this year, do you think?
Well, it's either gonna be one of two things. People are either gonna be out of the mood of coming, which I hope they aren't, or while they've been shuttered down with the pandemic, they've been doing needlework. And there's gonna be a lot of needlework.
That's actually going to be awesome.
Yeah,
I bet you'll be packed.
That's what we're hoping for. Yeah.
So just in general, if you wanted to pass along a word to folks, to me, it's like, hey, get out there. People getting the vaccinations now, all that kind of stuff. Let's get life going again, right? I mean, what do you think?
I hope so. Yeah. I guess we're not going to know what the fair's going to look like until it gets here, because it's entirely different than other years.
Personally, I bet it's going to be really popular this year, because so many things have been shut down. And I was just thrilled to hear that the fair is coming back.
Yeah.
And yes, not everything is going to be open, as it's been in the past, but it's going to be the fair, and so there'll be lots of stuff to do. One of which is all these things, and it's probably like you said, you're probably going to be packed with lots of folks involved.
We hope so. Yeah.
Great.
And we normally, after judging on Friday or Saturday afternoon, about 5:30, we have an auction to sell off the baked goods. We're not doing that this year because of the pandemic.
Okay.
That's one of the stipulations, limited things that we can't do, but that we normally do that. But.
Well, thank you very much for being with us today.
You're welcome.
Good afternoon, Dennis Fowler. Fowler's Taffy. We're at the Crawford County Fair in Meadville, Pennsylvania. I've been here 53 years. My grandparents come here at the beginning of the fair back almost 75 years ago. And we've been coming for the fair ever since. A really great fair, great people. Everything here is really fun. Everybody smiles and laughs. And the food's really good. The rides are nice. And just a great bunch of, and the cows and all the animals too. I mean, the livestock is quite a show here at the fair. And really appreciate being here, and hope to be back again next year.
So joining us now, Ray Counternick. So Ray, the building we're in front of here, this for many, many years was a Sportsman's Club building, and what is it now?
It's going to become the History Building. It was built in '58 by Meadville Sportsman's Club, and it was bought by the Fair Board in either 2016 or 2017. I can't quite remember when.
Okay, so what's the History Building? What's that going to be?
Okay, we're hoping to, this fair is kind of built on a lot of tradition and memories, and history is a big thing. So we're hoping that we can capture in this building some of those traditions of the people that for the past 75 years have been working to make this fair a success. There's going to be things in there, memorabilia, if I could use that word.
Okay.
And also we're planning on a timeline depicting the 75 years along the walls as you would enter and be 19 whatever, and then you're going to come out in 2021.
So me personally, I missed the first, I think, 13 years because I wasn't born yet, but I've been here almost all the rest of them, and so I'm sure there's lots of other folks like me who, that's just where you go every year. The third week of August, you come to the fair.
I think that's very, very true.
Are there, the folks, if they have some memorabilia or whatever?
We've been getting quite a bit of trophies and pictures, and we're very extremely lucky that Crawford County Historical Society, Josh, is actually working with this, as well as Kevin out to the Crawford County Visitors and Convention Bureau, and Mike Marley, a retired art teacher from the school system. And so we've got people here that should be able to are doing a very nice job with this. It's going to be kind of nice, I think.
So I think that's something that folks that's going to be new. I think it's something that's going to really get their attention this year.
I think so, and I also hope that as they come through here, they will think of I've got some things at home, and they should be here instead of in my house. And I'm hoping that will generate even more. Yes.
So for down the road, as that does grow, so that's something to put in the back of your mind when you're coming to visit the fair. Hey, make sure you come and check this out.
Yeah, we would like everybody to take a look at it, and it's going to be new. And we also would hope that they would bear with us and know that this is a work in progress. Okay, we may not hit a home run the first year, but we're going to come close, and next year we will, or several years from now.
So let me just get your opinion on the Crawford County Fair in general. I mean, my folks moved from Pittsburgh before I was born. The family has a cottage up at Canada Lake, and they always thought Meadville was a fun place to be. And since I was a little kid, as far as back I can remember, coming to the Crawford County Fair, it's just kind of like part of Crawford County. I mean, that's just what do you think? What's your opinion?
Yeah, I think that's true. And I grew up with the Erie County Fair, and we had we showed ponies there, and we had friends that the racehorses were housed on the outside of where the ponies were, and we had good friends with a lot of the racehorse people. And of course, their fair was in them days a year ahead of the Crawford County Fair. So we started coming down, Mom and Dad, a day to watch the harness racing, and that went on, and and of course, when I was extension agent then in the 70s, I didn't miss a one. And I think there's a lot of people like you and I that doesn't feel like it's a year unless you come at least one day to the Crawford County Fair.
I think you're right. I think it's like for folks who are Crawford County residents, it's like, oh yeah, it isn't even something that you have to decide about. It's
no,
like
you got to do it.
Well,
yeah.
which day are we gonna go? We're gonna go on the harness race day. We're gonna go on the demolition derby day. Which day are we gonna go? So.
And I've said this a lot, and each of us thinks that our own little area is the most important to the fair, but that's really not true. There's thousands of areas, and to individuals, that area may be the most important, but it's the total of that thing that brings people here, I believe.
I'm with you on that one. All the things of the fair is what gets it. So maybe everybody has one super favorite piece. Maybe it's the ice cream stand. Maybe it's, but everybody's got their favorite piece, and come, come and check it all out.
Yes.
So, well, thanks for being with us.
Okay, thank you for this. Okay.
I'm Elaine Duncan. I'm the chairman of the 4-H dairy department. I've been involved for almost 40 years with 4-H, and I love it. So my kids have all grown up and they have come back in it. I got on the dairy committee, which has put together all of these fairgrounds. They've built the 4-H barn, they've built the large dairy barn. We've done all that with money from the ice cream booth and from the dairy kitchen, which is in the show arena. They also built the show arena. So the dairy committee has been very vital to the life of the fair. And we've been, ever since the beginning of the fair, the dairy committee has been there. We have many, many volunteers. We're all volunteers, but we have many that we are grateful to. Our chairman is Brian Myers, and he is not here at this moment, but he's done wonders with getting things done. Our project for this year with the Dairy Committee is we put in a new milking system so that the exhibitors will have something better to milk with, and they can be more efficient.
Joining us now, Jane and Jean. So you guys, let's talk some history here. So what's going on? What's going on for 75 years here at the Crawford County Fair?
We are bringing everything together to show Crawford County and the neighboring areas what a wonderful fair we have, and we have had for 75 years. Plus now, because it was 75 years last year, but we got a little delayed, so we're doing all kinds of things.
This past year's been so wacky. I'm thrilled that things are kind of coming back to normal, even if it's a little bit slow coming back to normal. But the fair is something that just like, if you live in Crawford County, you can't not have the fair. Last year that was like very painful.
Exactly.
So, can we hear some stories, some of the interesting things that happened a long time ago?
Sure. Do you want to go first? No, you can go first. Okay. I was a reporter for the Tribune, so I got to do a lot of news stuff every day at the fair. During the week of the fair, you were not allowed to take vacation. So some of my exciting things were, of course, with the kids taking their pictures and everything. I was not a big animal lover because having seen animals all my life, it was, you saw one cow, you saw them all. But it was interesting, we always took pictures of the grand champions. And they were always good, wonderful, except when it came to the pigs. And that we had to have the grand champion and the reserve champion together. And one of my favorite memories is watching Sherman Allen try to make these pigs stand still and their tails exactly right, all at the same time. I mean, he danced, he laid on the ground, the whole 9 yards. But some of my exciting things were taking my children and then my grandchildren. But some of my exciting things as a news reporter was interviewing the country stars, the legends, the Loretta Lynn, the Garth Brooks, the Conway Twitty, the Johnny Cashes. They were so down to earth, and it wasn't a matter of me doing it. I mean, I enjoyed it personally because I was a big fan, but I got to talk with them so I could tell our readers what they were like. I mean, I'm doing Loretta Lynn, and she's got curlers in her hair between shows, and I'm on the bus with her. And Garth Brooks was just so down to earth, and so there's a lot of fun memories. But some of my fondest memories as a news reporter was sitting through the Fair Board meetings every month, and they weren't an hour meeting. They were always at least minimum of 3 hours, usually 4 hours. And these board members were so dedicated, and everything was scrutinized. Just, it didn't matter what, they made sure all the decisions were made for the benefit of the fair. One of my favorite personal memories was twisting with Fabian on when the Golden Boys were here. You got to run upstairs and go up on the stage and twist with them. That was kind of fun.
I always enjoyed just sitting watching people
it was really cool to see farmers talking to each other. They'd be standing there at the home show building or somewhere, just standing there talking to each other. And it was like a giant family reunion.
Oh, right.
It was just so cool to see people who hadn't seen each other for a year, catching up with each other, buying tickets for all these different things. But just sitting, watching teenagers and adults going by, and all of them having a good time and just laughing. And I always just thought that was so cool that they could laugh about stuff. We got, as a Tribune reporter also, one of our young reporters who was from New Jersey or somewhere, he was from the city anyhow, he fell in love with the goats and he wanted to adopt a goat in the worst way. And he just thought watching the kids with the goats was the most interesting thing in the fair for him. And I'm like, watching the kids and the goats was the most interesting thing in the fair. But he just thought that was really cool. So then the next week the next year I took my granddaughter up and she fell in love with the goats. And she asked her parents, could I get a goat? And they're like, no, you're not getting a goat. We live in the suburbs, you're not getting a goat. But I just thought it was really cool to watch the kids and the animals interact and to watch people interact with each other, catch up with each other. How are you doing? It was just fun. It was just always a fun time for people, for families and friends and that to get together.
If you have a favorite animal like a goat, there's lots of other animal choices to go with.
Oh, yeah.
You know, rabbits and chickens and cows and horses and pigs. Pretty much anything you could think of, you're going to be able to get a chance to interact with up here.
And my nephews and my nieces are into the pigs with the 4-H thing, listening to them talk about their pigs and that. And the first year they had them, their father named them like bacon and things that you got off of the thing. And she's like, I'm not eating, if this is bacon, I'm not eating him. You know, like, it's not bacon, it's a different one. And now they name him something different so the little girl will eat them, because she didn't want to eat the pig that was named Bacon, because that was her pig. But I just think it was really cool to watch the kids develop through the years with their animals and how proud they were and how hard they worked. I just thought that was really cool. I thought the Forster homemaker thing was interesting to watch some of them develop their skills. And the one lady was telling us one year, she had decided she was going to be a 4-star homemaker. That was it. That was her goal for the year. So she said she did nothing all year except 4-star homemakers did. She was sewer, but she said, I learned how to can. I did all this stuff. Said the week before the fair, her husband came in when she's in bed. Said, I just saw a thing in the paper. Now they're going to come to your house and judge the housekeeping. And she said, oh no, I haven't been cleaning house because I've been busy learning how to can. But that was kind of a goal. It was like a goal to be the 4-star homemaker. I laughed with some of the former Miss Crawford counties because they said they were crowned and they were, you know, the princes and queens and all that. And they said her first job was to go down into livestock auctions and stand beside the pigs and not get dirty. And it's like, how am I going to not get dirty in this thing? But it was just always fun to listen to people's reactions to the fair and the kids' reactions to what they were doing. I just always enjoyed that.
You mentioned the queens. That reminds me, back when I was in high school, Sharon Stone, who went on to be a famous Hollywood actress, and was the Miss Crawford County in '75, I believe that was.
Yeah.
There's been so many memories. Yeah. My whole life was coming to the Crawford County Fair, and then many of the events. I had a bunch of friends who were involved in horse shows, and so I could walk from the house, could walk over and watch them doing their horse competitions. And yeah, the fairgrounds, it's just like institution. I mean, it just, you know, kind of like Crawford County. It's like almost like a central spot, you know, for from about May till about, you know, October or something like that. So, any other fun ancient stories here?
Well, I remember when it first started, well, probably not when it first started, but when I was maybe 10, the Vesper services were the opening thing the night before the fair opened, and everything in their fairgrounds had to shut down, so they would have Vesper services. And then on Fridays, they would have the Blue Ribbon Cavalcade, where you would go in and the animals would all come around. There were blue ribbon animals, and you could see all of them without having to go into the barns. And it was particularly nice for seniors that couldn't do that. But it was one of my father's favorite things as far as that, and also the harness racings was my dad's and my family's. But back in the early days when it was promoting agriculture, the cavalcade was fun to watch. And it only got by the wayside because of the entertainment. They had to set up the chairs and everything early, so they couldn't do the Blue Ribbon Cavalcade. But it was hard for some of the board members who wanted to focus on some of the old time stuff that they had to make way for some of the new stuff that, you know, because you couldn't just as much as you would like to have it nothing but agriculture, to make a profit, you had to have something to draw people in, because many of the people would not come to the fair if they didn't have a name act or something to come to the fair, unless it was for their kids or their grandkids. So it was a nice event to have. I can remember during the one Miss Crawford County scholarship pageant, they had a thunderstorm that came up very quickly. And Ken Robertson had us all in the grandstand, and he was leading us in singing with a microphone. And I kept thinking, you're going to get electrocuted. But he calmed us all down, and the storm passed by. But there's a lot of fun, fond memories of people coming in and doing things and it doesn't matter whether you like cows or horses or pigs, or if you don't like the country stars and you like the Christian stars or anything. There's something for everybody at the fair, regardless of what your age is. It's just.
Your story.
I'm a fair crazy person.
Your story reminds me of something that happened. But I grew up on that side of the fairgrounds and got married and bought a house on that side of the fairgrounds. And our daughter was just a baby. I think she was just a few months old. And that year they were having helicopter tours. And the helicopters were buzzing right over the house.
Yeah.
Pictures fell off the wall. The babies cried. That would have been 33, 34 years, something like that.
And you're not happy with the fair at that point.
It was way better to actually come over to the fair than to have the helicopter buzzing the house. Yeah.
But they've also added the educational seminars. So you can learn about how you do this and why you do that and which animal is different and why it's better, and the sheep shearing. And I mean, there's just so many things that it's just, you could go here for days and not see everything.
Crawford County is an agricultural area. It's an outdoors area, and the Crawford County Fair is like a perfect, almost like a center point for all those things to kind of bring them all together, and you can go and see other ones, in addition to the ones that you're really, involved in or interested in or whatever, and get your feet wet with some other stuff.
I always thought it was neat to watch the kids climbing on the tractors right near the fairground thing, watching the kids climb on the farm machinery. And then they used to have the mobile homes up here, and the young people would be going through the mobile homes to see what they liked and what they didn't like. I just always thought it was really interesting, the things that they could do, different interest thing. And one year, one of my assignments was to come up here and find out what all you could get free at the fair and what all you could get for less than $1. And it was really interesting. I came back with a whole pile of stuff, and they said, "Where'd you get this stuff at?" I said, "I just walked all over, took everything they gave me." And I said, I was amazed at how much free stuff there was. It was kind of interesting. The Tribune one time was giving away Fritos coffee scoops. And our thing was, get a scoop from the Meadville Tribune. Well, the one guy says, "Well, I don't drink coffee. Would it be okay if I use if I used it for sugar?" And I'm like, "I don't care what you use it for. Just take it." But it was just funny that it was like, "Here's your coffee scoop." And it's like, "Well, I could use it for sugar. Would that be okay with you?" And I'm like, "Sure, you can use it for whatever you want to." But it was always interesting to see what people bought and what they didn't, what people gave away. It was just fun.
Boy, there's about 1,000 different things you can sort of get up to date on when you come out to the fair. You mentioned about the tractors and so on. I ended up buying a tractor for my property to maintain my property, and they had a special fair, a fair special, that saved a bunch of money and all that kind of stuff. So I think the fair is an awesome thing, to have for a place like Crawford County. The largest agricultural fair west of the Mississippi River, right? I think that's what I heard.
Yeah, it's a tradition, but it's more than a tradition. It's a happening that takes in everybody, and it creates so much business for people. I mean, not just here, but downtown. I mean, there's a lot of people come in, spend the whole week here, and come to the fair. And I mean, everyone says it's the same old fair. Well, it's like it's the same family reunion. It's still the same people. It's still people. We might be still doing the same thing, but every year is different. There's new people to be involved. There's young kids to show things. And it's just, my son was like, "Mom, do I have to go see those animals again?" I'm like, "You too. I took you when you were little. You can take Belinda when she's now." And she just thought they were just wonderful. She just thought, petting a cow and petting a horse was just, she just thought that was the greatest thing since sliced bread. And it was really fun to watch him say, I was like, "Okay." It's like,
now, you mentioned before freebies, things people pick up at the fair. This year, the gate's going to be a freebie. That wasn't very interesting.
That's cool.
With no concerts and so on going on this year, you can come into the fair for free. I think that's a super.
Yeah.
I think that's a super thing.
And I think people are going to really see what people think of the fair, but it's not just the concerts, it's all the other things. And I think the good thing about that is maybe people with 5 or 6 kids that couldn't afford to bring them during normal years will be able to bring them and see the stuff that doesn't cost money. You know, they won't have to worry about, do I have enough money for rides? Do I have enough money to get in a concert? They're going to be able to see what the fair is really all about, because it's more than a rides, it's more than a concert, it's a family-friendly place. And I still like the idea that they don't allow booze in here. The other funny thing that happened was, this was when I was a young reporter, that Hare Krishnas came up one year and they were talking, they brought them into the fair office, and I was in there, and Earl Austin was president of the fair board. And they said, well, we're up here collecting money for God. And he just looked at him and he said, when I see God, I'll give him my money. In the meantime, you guys need to leave the fairgrounds. And it was just so cool. It was just matter of fact, that was it. I'm not buying anything you're selling. You need to leave the fairgrounds, because they were creating quite a disturbance with people being frightened by them and all that. But it was just really cool to see some of that happen. I think seeing the junior fair board is cool, seeing the young kids get excited about being able to do things for themselves and being able to make a decision, and I can do this and I can do that, with the advice of their advisors. I think it's really cool to see them get involved early on.
I think you're right. The involvement of youth is a tremendous asset of the Crawford County Fair, and the fair all year round. All the stuff that goes on here all year round very much involves our younger population. So,
the 75th one observance is going to be fun. We're going to be highlighting our new historical society, the historical building that will show all of our past history, that people can come in and see it, and they don't have to pay the gate fee, but they'll still be able to really enjoy the fair without a lot of the extra stuff that gets in the way sometimes of things.
And they can buy a book. They can order a history book for the 75th anniversary fair. We had them for the 50th, now we're updating the last 25 years and telling people this is what happened since you read the 50th one, which is going to be cool too.
I think I remember the 50th anniversary fair. Wasn't Tom Ridge governor then? Didn't he?
Yes,
didn't he
he
come?
was. Yes, he did.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. So
when I called Dad to see if he would come, his staff said he wasn't available. So I said, well, this is the 50th year, blah, blah, blah. So then I happened to see Tom at a picnic. So I reminded him about the fair, and he said, I will get it on my schedule. And so I was real pleased that he cared enough to follow through and didn't do anything, just stood at the edge and came. Yeah,
well, he was our congressman for many years, and then went on to be governor. And then I remember distinctly, now that you're bringing that up, I remember him coming to the 50th anniversary of the fair, and that was a big deal. I think 75 is even going to be a bigger deal.
Yes, it is. We're finally getting to do it.
Yeah, it's disappointing. Last year, everything got shut down, but so thank goodness things are coming back. So.
Yeah, we're going to be talking to some of the people that have been to every fair. And I think that's going to be interesting to see.
That will be interesting.
What they have to remember, yeah.
Okay, so thinking back 75 years, to me that just kind of puts my brain in, what's coming up? What do you think for down the road? The fair's changed a whole lot in that amount of time. A lot of stuff has totally stayed the same, but a number of things have grown and just added on and so on. What do you think for down the road?
They've added on a lot of stuff over the years. I'm not sure how much more they can expand, because they're going to be landlocked pretty soon. But I suspect they're going to do a lot. I think they're going to be introducing some technology stuff. They've already introduced a lot. You go online to enter now before, instead of standing in line to enter your product, to enter your entries. I think technology will be coming in too. I probably won't be alive to see it, but I'm sure that my children and grandchildren will. I think our board is always, and I maybe I'm just a little biased because I sit with them every month, but it's kind of like planning a wedding. You just plan it for a year, and as soon as the lights go out for the end of this year, they're going to be starting on next year, and they spend so much time. All the volunteers do. They spend so much time, but the board particularly spends a lot of detailed time making the improvements, the infrastructure, fixing it so the wheelchairs can go over without getting stuck in the mud, making sure that the barns are up to date, all the stuff that goes on. And without the board, but with all the volunteers, it just would not be there. And I think that people can really appreciate, we had to type who all the winners were for years. Now they just send it down on email, and I can remember Sandy Petruso. It was a big businessman in Meadville. He grew flowers, and he won prize after prize after prize. And you wouldn't think, I guess because it sounds really weird, but back in my days, men didn't grow flowers. But he was older than I, and he grew beautiful flowers and cared enough to enter them in the Crawford County Fair. Even though he was a city guy, he cared enough to enter them. It was just it was fascinating to me to watch the different people that entered things and what all they did.
So Meadville's a city, but it's still kind of
country,
kind of like a city in the country. Yes, yeah. So that's an interesting story.
I always thought it was fun listening to people that won a blue ribbon talk about, I won a blue ribbon at the Crawford County Fair for growing this pumpkin. And I'm like, okay, you grew a pumpkin. But they were really excited about it. And I was like, wow, everybody that won a blue ribbon was so excited about winning a blue ribbon. People that I wouldn't even think would even care about winning a blue ribbon still had it years later because that was very important to them. It showed something that they accomplished.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal to be. Whenever you have an agricultural area like we have, if you can be the champ, that is a big deal. That means you've really done, you've gone above and beyond.
Yeah. I remember many of the livestock people would say to me, it wasn't just a blue ribbon from the Crawford County, it was from the Crawford County Fair, which was the epitome of fairs to get a blue ribbon or a red ribbon or even, third or fourth place. We were the best fair to get these blue ribbons from, according to the livestock people that I talked with, because we were just the best.
And that makes sense. I agree. Going past some of the other fairgrounds in the area when I'm traveling to visit with family or whatever, it's just all different. It's just a different thing. And when the fair's going on, the Erie County Fair or the Warren County Fair, it's just not the same. I mean, they're just a whole different.
It's not our fair.
It's not. It's not at all. Well, any final thoughts? Any last thoughts?
I just hope everybody has an opportunity to come out the days of the fair, the nights of the fair, and see what our Crawford County Fair is all about, and to celebrate our 75th anniversary with us. I think you'll be very pleased and very honored.
I'm with you on that one. Gene Shanley, Jane Smith, thank you very much for being with us.
You're welcome. Thank you for having us.
My name is Curtis Oakes from Cochrane, Pennsylvania. I've been the chairman of the poultry department for 40 years now. My mother was pregnant with me the first year that we started here in 1950. So basically I've been to 69 of the 75 fairs. I know growing up that coming to the fair and being at the fair was the most important thing to me that there was to do, because it was fair season and that was a big deal. And I recall many years when we had a lot more poultry than we do now. There's just less people doing it, but there were times when we had 1,400 birds. This year we have about 1,000, and so on. One of the things that the poultry department offers is a larger variety of things than you can see in any other department in the fair. We have ducks and geese and guineas and turkeys and chickens and bantams, and all different kinds and colors and varieties and things of that sort. The Fair Board has been supportive in getting us new cages when we need them and things of that sort. The waterfowl edition that came back in the early 2000s with the cement floor has helped to house most of the waterfowl outside. That's been great for ventilation and to keep the birds cooler and more accommodating for them. We currently have about 20 4-H'ers that show here. And they show about 150 birds total. They also have market classes. We had 8 market chicken classes this year. And also had the market turkeys, which are always great to see. Just wonderful experiences we've had over the years. Carl Gilbert, who was a poultryman from Guy's Mills for many years, was the chairman when I was growing up. Then in '79, when I was in my early 20s, why I took over as the chairman of the department. I've been chairman since then.
And joining us now, Tracy and Landis Crawford. So the Junior Fair Board, tell us about that.
Yeah, so the Junior Fair Board started in 2018 with an idea from the actual state association meeting that some of the current Fair Board went to the state association meeting and brought this idea back. And I was approached to be an advisor along with two other ladies, Kathy Klink and Jessica Peters, to see if we were interested in starting a Junior Fair Board here in Crawford County. And the three of us got right to work and kind of initiated some bylaws and put some stuff on the ground, and really within a couple months interviewed students and started with a group of 14 kind of young good students in Crawford County.
I know I've been coming to the fair since I was about that big, so I bet you there's lots of other folks like that too. So that makes a lot of sense to have young folks involved.
Yeah, it was a great idea to get just a youth involvement, and it's really kind of multi-purpose. Obviously, we get a lot out of them here at the fair, but also it's a good experience for the young people too, to be able to give back. They were learning a lot of skills, and Landis can certainly talk about some of the things that they have learned.
Yeah, so I've got a lot of leadership development out of that. The Junior Fair Board with advertising and working in the office, we get to answer a lot of questions at the fair. Where's the restroom? Can I do this? What are the rules on that? So we do all that, and then we get to help in the departments, which is really interesting. So we also got to design and sell t-shirts. So that was kind of, to show our love for the Crawford County Fair. We got to kind of come up with what we could do to embody the fair and then put it on a t-shirt and sell. And then this year we are super excited. We're doing some community outreach and get to do presentations about the Crawford County Fair to some local groups like the Kiwanis. And then we're going to do barn tours the week of the fair to really teach people about the animals that are in the barn and all the work that goes into getting them there and a little bit about them.
So this is kind of, I'm just hearing the big picture. This is like sticking your toe in the water. This is really getting the feel for what's the whole thing, how it works, and then maybe those folks might be getting it, as they grow up, maybe they'll be more involved as they get older.
I think that was the hope. There's so much that goes on behind the scenes, and you don't really know that until you're behind the scenes, and then you see everything that gets done. So it's really eye-opening, and then we get to help with that and kind of, try to make things a little bit smoother and, do some things like that, and then you just see how much volunteering happens at the fair to really make it happen, and that is really impressive.
So let me ask you from a personal perspective, what was it like for you? You kind of jumping in with both feet here.
So I show 4-H, I show lambs, so I was always at the fair a lot like that, and I thought Fair Week was busy when I just showed, and then I came to the office and I think I didn't even know what busy was. The phone is always ringing, there's always questions and something to do. So to do both of those is a really good perspective.
That's a great point. When you think about it, it's like I don't think anybody realizes how much stuff goes on behind the scenes to make everything happen and so on.
Yeah, and it's just a good opportunity to develop just general leadership skills, all the social networking. That was one of the things that we were tasked with early on in the game, was just some social media outreach, because the youth is very savvy with that kind of stuff, and to be able to capture images around the fairgrounds. Just even taking photos that the fair can use and put out there and remind people what the schedule is for the day. But it's from a leadership development, they've got to meet a lot of folks, press or just good leaders in the community. It's been a good opportunity to develop good connections for them as well.
That's awesome. So this is the 75th anniversary of the Crawford County Fair, which in itself is just phenomenal. But does that mean anything to this year? Is that gonna get some attention?
Well, certainly, and the Junior Fair Board currently is working on some social media posts with Will Moose to try to bring some of that attention to light. So, yeah, 75 years. It's an amazing. I hope the Junior Fair Board's here in 75 years.
That's great. The social media. You're right. That's something that's. If you want to get a hold of anybody nowadays, that's the way you got to get it out there, right?
Yeah. And it takes a little bit to figure out how to do that. What people want to see and what they want to look at and what they want to know, and the right balance and good pictures and
the right time of day. and just what can capture someone's attention. There is so much out there capturing people's attention. So to be able to be a part of those few minutes of someone's day to bring them here.
That's a great point you made too, because it's like something that catches my attention maybe isn't necessarily going to catch a younger person's attention the same way. So I mean, if I was to be posting stuff that would be, you guys probably wouldn't care at all, but about something that I'm interested in. So.
Yeah.
Right. And then there's so much that goes on at the fair, from the animals and the home show and all the vendors and the businesses that are here. So to portray everything that could bring people in is...
Well, that's great. Well, did we miss anything? Is there anything else you guys want to talk about?
So there's 9 members this year for the Junior Fair Board, and they will be around the office all week. So if any youth is interested, certainly we'd be glad to have them stop in and say hello. Or if there's anything that any of the young folks of Crawford County would like to see, questions, or if they want to use the Junior Fair Board as a kind of a gathering information of ideas that they might have, they'd be glad to do that. So,
Super.
Yeah.
We're here to help, and we get really cool name tags. So.
What could be better than that?
Exactly.
Well, guys, thanks for being with us.
Yeah, thank you for having us. Happy 75.
Hello, I'm David Cox. We are here with Shabby's Homemade Ice Cream and Big Daddy's Roasted Nuts. I have been a part of the Crawford County Fair as far as I can remember as a little child. We've always come here. We feel it's one of the greatest fairs in the whole state. And 3 years ago, we purchased Marcy's Homemade Ice Cream and have now expanded to Shabby's Homemade Ice Cream. And so this is our 3rd year at the Crawford County Fair. We make all of our own ice cream. We make our apple dumplings from scratch, and our ice cream sandwiches are homemade chocolate chip cookies. So the Crawford County Fair is a big deal for us. We love to be here. We love things fresh. This year, we purchased Big Daddy's Roasted Nuts, which is going to be Shabby's Nut House coming up. And Big Daddy, George Bosley, is on the trailer working Big Daddy's Roasted Nuts this year, and will continue to be a part of us. So I guess we're forming a partnership together, doing roasted nuts and homemade ice cream.
Joining us now, Gene Schlosser. Gene, welcome to the show here.
Thank you.
There's draft horse barns in the background. What does that mean?
Well, hopefully in a few weeks we'll have a lot of draft horses. We're really excited about obviously coming back from 2020 to 2021. We've contacted all my exhibitors, and we're excited to come back. We feed these animals 365 days a year, and ultimately we really enjoy showing them. The public really enjoys the big horses, and we enjoy showing the big horses to the public. We have quite a diverse group. We have people from New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio, and we have approximately 30-some exhibitors, which will probably entail anywhere from 80 to 90 draft horses.
Wow.
Another element that the Fair Board has supported very strongly is we have what we call a classic 6-horse hitch competition, which brings in 6-horse hitches of draft horses. They perform in front of the grandstand. It's a traveling show. It's a point show for draft horse exhibitors. They come from all over Indiana, Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania. I think there's one from New York. So and that has really enhanced our presence, the draft horse presence at the Crawford County Fair. This is the upcoming year, this year, 2021, I think will be their 4th or 5th year they come. But our previous chairman, Chuck Burns, was helpful in promoting that, and eventually the Fair Board agreed to do that. And now they've been here, as I say, this will be their 4th or 5th year. But they bring there's probably approximately 10 6-horse hitches that come for competition.
Wow.
And in turn, they come in they compete Tuesday evenings, and they probably come in here Monday, and then they leave Wednesday. So we're very fortunate because we have some racehorse barns that we're able to utilize because the racehorses people are already done by Monday afternoon. So we have housing for them, and we have very nice housing compared to other fairs. I'm not sure if you've been to other fairs housing of draft horses, but sometimes it leaves a little bit to be desired. But we're very fortunate because, as you can see, we have 2 relatively new barns right behind me, and we have an older barn, which is the original draft horse barn, which is well maintained, and then we can also use the racehorse barn stallings. So
my daughter has a horse. It's a former thoroughbred horse that she rides every week. And when I see a draft horse versus our regular, the horse is this tall and the draft horse is this tall, and they're so calm. That's the thing that always impresses me so much about the draft horses. Is like the other horses. Now maybe it's a thoroughbred thing. I don't know, but it's all the time. It's all worked up or whatever. Well, the draft horses are so calm.
One of the characteristics of the draft horse is we call them gentle giants. In fact, there's a show on RFD TV that's called Gentle Giants, and they basically are promotion of the draft horse, whether it be a Belgian, a Percheron, or Clydesdale, or Shire, which are the 4 major breeds. But the draft horse is known for its gentle disposition. They ride draft horses extensively. In fact, it's a very popular event. In fact, it's a popular event here. In fact, in 2019, I believe we had 19 entries in our draft horse under saddle.
Wow.
For the Crawford County Fair. We're very blessed. Our group of exhibitors are very diversified. They ride, they show halter, they show carts, they show wagons. We're very fortunate because the big horse draws a big crowd around that ring. And Monday evenings at 7 o'clock we have our draft horse under saddle. We have both English, Western, we have a youth class. Then we have a couple fun classes, bareback, and also bareback, egg and spoon. And they're very enjoyable. The public seems to enjoy it. In fact, we've done some things with regards to giving the public an opportunity to see our draft horse in motion. We've moved our hitch classes and also the riding classes to the evening. On Tuesday, we start our hitch class at 5 o'clock, or excuse me, on Wednesday at 5 o'clock, and on Thursday at 5 o'clock also. So that gives the working public an opportunity to get here and enjoy us. It creates quite a bit of traffic, both pedestrian and horse traffic, but our security area, our security force here are very good and very cooperative with regards to controlling the traffic, make sure nobody gets hurt. So it's an ongoing thing. The draft horse is an up-and-coming thing. I've been associated with draft horses for probably 25, 30 years or whatever, and when I got into it, so what? But now as I've gotten into it more and more years, the draft horse is really a big thing. In fact, there was just a show in Chippewa, Indiana, here last weekend, and they had 27 six-horse hitches there. So in one show, it's kind of a point show again with regards to that.
I remember maybe it's been about 5 years ago, 6 years ago, something like that. We did a show on logging, and the area where we were interviewing the person who was talking about how you cut the trees down, how you get them out, was very tight, and there was no way to get a big tractor in there, and they were doing draft horses. Yes. And it was unbelievable. These logs weighed 500, 700 pounds or whatever, and 2 horses, they had just a little wheeled thing, and they just picked up the end of the log and the horses went off with those like it was nothing. I mean, that's amazing to me.
It's amazing to me. I mean, I've never personally done any logging with horses, but it's amazing to me what those log teamsters and their horses do. I mean, a good friend of mine, in fact, he skidded some logs out of my woods for me, and it's amazing what he can tell them to stand. He'll go over here and cut a tree down and everything, and then he'll whistle to them. They come to him. Wow. I mean, it's just like it's very amazing to me. I mean, I've been around draft horses a long time, but it's still amazing what the discipline and the relationship that the teamster has with the horses themselves.
Can you talk a little bit about some of the competition that's going to happen here at the fair this year?
Okay. Basically, we have a full week. Okay, we compete 5 days. Monday, first thing we do at 10 o'clock on Monday morning is we have our halter classes. Halter classes judge basically the conformation of the horse. How right is it? Okay. Then Monday evening, as I mentioned earlier, we have our riding classes. We have 5 riding classes with regards to adults and also youth. Then Tuesday is our entire day is devoted to our youth. We have showmanship class, we have decorating classes, we have halter class with them, we have them hitch them in a cart, and then we have some fun games with regards to the youth also. 2019, we were very fortunate. We have a very strong youth class because we had 15 youth who were involved in our youth classes for that day. On Wednesday, we don't, and also on Tuesday evening, as I mentioned earlier, we have the classic 6-horse hitch competition that starts at, I believe, 7 or 7:30 in front of the grandstand. Wednesday, we don't do anything except prepare to show, because Wednesday afternoon at 5 o'clock, we start with our multiple hitches. We start with a 6-horse hitch, and then we work down. The 6-horse hitch will be the first class of hitch class, and then they'll take 2 horses off and compete with 4, and then go down to 2, and on down to just a team. Then Thursday at 5 o'clock, we start with our cart classes, which is single horse and 2-wheeled cart. And then Friday, it's kind of a fun game. We have some obstacle courses. We have some fun games with regards to horses driving exhibitions and that type of thing. And that's for everybody. But getting back to our youth class with regards to riding, I mentioned with regards to Youth Day, we have a junior youth, which is from age 8 to 14. And then from 15 to 18, we have youth competition, and we give away youth exhibitor awards for High Point, basically. Again, I'm very fortunate. We're very fortunate. We have a exhibitor from Jefferson, Ohio. It's Rick and Chris Morris. They have hand-forged Belgians, and he is quite a craftsman. And in 2019, he gave the winner of the Junior Youth Exhibitor Award and also the Senior Exhibitor Award a very nice cherry braiding bench. It's a very nice thing, and in fact he also gave him a canvas bag to carry it in because it would be a shame to mar it up carrying it around.
Sure.
And this year I've already contacted him, and they're going to give each of these Junior and Senior Exhibitor Award to the High Point exhibitor. He's going to make a show box, and it's very nice. He takes great pride in what he does, and he's not only a good teamster and a good craftsman, but he's also very devoted to youth exhibitors.
How about that?
So.
Well, every year coming to the fair, I just live just a short distance away, and we come all the time. And of course, everyone loves to go see the baby pigs. But then the very, very close second favorite thing to see are the draft horses. Right. And there's usually loads of them here, and they're just so awesome to see because, like I said, they're giants, but they're so calm, and they're they'll put their head over and want you to pet them, and all that kind of stuff.
Most of them are very docile. Most of them are very well. Most are taken well care of, and so it's. They're just a neat animal. I mean, you'd be surprised the passion that my exhibitors have with their horses. It's just part of their family, and it's just an amazing thing to watch.
An absolute favorite at the Crawford County Fair is seeing those draft horses.
Right.
So. Well, Gene, anything else we want to?
No, we're excited to be back. That's all there is to it. I have exhibitors been calling me, says, hey, is the fair on, is the fair off, are we going to show, or are we not going to show, and whatever. And now with things loosening up a little bit, and our fair board and my committee are very helpful. I couldn't do it without them, but we're excited. We're just ready to go. I mean, August 21st can't come soon enough. In fact, I have some exhibitors who are going out and showing at other fairs, earlier fairs, but Crawford County has a good name with regards to facilities and also the type of show they run and that type of thing. So people like to come. In fact, I have a friend of mine who lives in Findlay, Ohio, and he's coming.
That's awesome.
So he's bringing 6 or 7 horses.
That's awesome.
So,
well, Gene, thanks for being with us.
Hey, you're welcome. Thank you for having us. Appreciate it.
Joining us now, Julie Hobson. Julie,
Hi.
Welcome to the show. So tell us about the saddle horse riding and the ponies here at the fair.
So this year we'll be following the limited fair solution. We will be 100 stalls less than what we normally are, just because of the pandemic and budgets and things like that. But we are being very proactive with that. We have worked collaboratively with the Fair Board and with Lisa Dunn, and we will be able to utilize the racehorse barn, number one. We will be able to get 48 stalls that we usually have in the tents, and be able to just accommodate pretty close to what we usually do. The horse and pony department works a little bit differently than the other departments of the fair. We do not have 4-H during the fair show, and that's because the 4-H has their show 2 weeks earlier than the fair, just because of the sheer number of 4-Hers that they have. We don't have enough barns to house the 4-H alone, let alone with the open showers. So we have accommodated and put some 4-H classes into our show, but we do not have the 4-H show. There's 10 of us on our committee, and I could not do anything without the other 9 on our committee. We show from Sunday to Saturday. Each day is a little bit different, and this year is going to be a little bit different as well, just because of the housing. We will allow horses to come in Friday and Saturday this year like we usually do, but now we have a new timing that other horses will be able to come in Tuesday through Saturday because of using the racehorse barn. We have changed our show schedule around a little bit just to accommodate for that. So we usually have our game classes up front. We're having them towards the end of the week now. We will have a big jackpot show for those people that are here for gaming on Friday. One of our favorite classes that people like to come and see is costume class, and that will remain on Thursday afternoon. Tuesday is what we call our kids' day usually, and it has our lead line, our stick pony classes, all the pony classes for that. We will have our cart obstacle driving on Sunday. We will collaborate with the draft horse ring as well and have 2 shows going. We'll have a show on Tuesday here, but then we will also have our cart classes in, I guess that's Wednesday, with the draft horses as well.
So let me ask you, this is going to be kind of a strange question, but if I've got a horse and I want to win an award or whatever, what do I got to do to be really good?
To be really good, a lot of practice.
Okay.
I showed 4-H myself, my kids, my niece, everybody, and it just takes a lot of practice. And you and the horse has to become one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're working with that horse all the time, then that's going to just build her. Okay. Okay.
Yep.
One thing that's really interesting. I mean, I see a lot of green when I look that way. When the fair gets here, that's going to be tents, right? For
we'll just have one tent with 48 stalls there. That's the only tent.
So it's a large tent, but
yeah, that's the only one that we'll be able to get because usually we have stalls here to our right and then back there. Again, we won't be able to have that, but we will be parking our horse trailers here to allow, because we usually allow for tack stalls, and because of not having as many stalls, we can't allow for the tack stalls. So we'll have trailers here as well. Yeah, but we'll have one tent there, and then of course all the campers around the edge.
Usually people come into the fair, they got to come see the horses. That's one of the most popular things I think to come and see, and so that's probably rewarding to the folks who bring their horses out.
Yes, and I think that's one of the reasons why we have such a large number. We usually have over 250 horses alone, and then those horses are shown multiple times, so we have probably over 300 exhibitors showing 250 horses.
Wow.
So, yeah.
There's lots of other horseback riding events here at the Crawford County Fairgrounds that go on. There was a big one this past weekend, and I think I heard there's going to be something like 5 or 6 more before the fair hits. So that's a big deal. I mean, the grounds get used an awful lot for horse projects, right?
Yes. We collaborate, as the committee, we run the show for the fair week, but we collaborate with the Fair Board and the commissioners all year long to help in making the upgrades for those type of things, for the rentals. Right now we're collaborating with the Fair Board. We've redone most of the stalls in the 4-H barn. They hadn't been done since the barn went up.
Okay.
So we're about halfway through that, and with the footing, we've worked with them for the new fencing. That used to be wood and had to be painted, so now it's vinyl.
It looks very nice.
And then our committee has also done a lot of the adding to the footwork of the, because you have to keep on adding that every 2 years.
Okay.
And then our committee has also redone the inside of the building over there for our office. So there's a lot of work that goes on, not just for the Fair Week.
Maybe people that come Fair Week can walk around and don't realize all the stuff behind the scenes that makes it all happen, right?
Yes.
So this year, the 75th anniversary of the fair. Let me just ask you what your opinion about that is. I mean, to me, that's a monumental thing.
It is. I'm very happy to be a part of it, especially with my mom and dad being so intricate in it and developing it. So that's really a pleasure. I grew up here at the fair. I had my son here at 2 days old at the fair, so he's grown up at the fair as well. Yeah, so it's a big thing, and I wish it could be a little bit bigger, but at least we're making the best of it.
Well, me too. I grew up at the fair just like you did. Lived nearby and came all the time, and friends would come in the non-fair competitions, and I'd come over. I could walk over and come and see their horse shows and things, and so yeah, the Crawford County Fairgrounds. It's just like, oh yeah, the Crawford County Fairgrounds. It's just around the corner from my house. Yeah, I go there all the time.
I work for a large insurer in a large city nearby, and it's very hard to explain to people. They just, outside of here, they really don't understand it. So
people here do, though.
Yes, they do. Yes.
So come out to the fair.
That's right.
Well, Julie, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Joining us now, Ellen Arndt. Ellen, what's over our shoulder here? Who is this?
Well, this is Diamond Jim, our mascot for the 75th Fair.
Okay. And tell the story.
I will. In 2018, when we were at a fair meeting, we decided that we thought we needed a mascot to help show off our 75th year and to help educate and direct people.
So, how did this particular Diamond Jim come around here?
This particular Diamond Jim is the vision of Kevin at the Visitors Bureau.
Okay.
He's the artist in residence, I guess. And we went in and we had a conversation, and through that conversation, this became Diamond Jim.
So how's he going to get used? Where's he going to be?
Well, you see behind me, we have a lot of cutouts. And so we have different uses for the cutouts on the fairground. First, it's going to be a source of information. Our plan is at every gate, when people are coming in every day, the schedule will be on there for activities that are important for the day, or maybe special that you didn't know about. I believe that Dean is going to use Diamond Jim as sources of information and highlights around the fairground. But our main source was a little bit of education.
Okay.
So we have enough of these Diamond Jims for every department on the fairgrounds. And for the past 2-3 years, we have worked with the department heads, and they have provided some facts, fun facts, we call them. And every day we hope to change the fun facts in every department. So when you come in, you might learn something you didn't know.
So even if you come back day after day, you might going to get something different from Diamond Jim each day.
That is the absolute plan.
Oh, awesome. Okay. So is he going to be around for a while, even after the 75th?
Well, I don't know, because we're done. We've been doing this for a lot of years. The 75th, it seems like. I believe he will be, but we have a real live Diamond Jim also. And if you're lucky, you will get to see him out and about in the fairgrounds once in a while. We don't overwork him. We've had him in some parades, and we've had some fun moments, but I probably shouldn't share those today.
So I've been talking to some of the other folks already here, but let me get your opinion. Give us a big picture of what you think about the fair.
Well, I mean, it's the Crawford County Fair. I'm going to tell you a story. Can I do that?
Please.
I'm not from Crawford County originally. I'm from Mifflin County. And I interviewed here in 1982. And I came up 79 and got off the Meadville exit, and the first thing I saw was a big banner across 322 that said, Barbara Mandrell. That's the first I was introduced to the Crawford County Fair, and I thought, wow. And since that, obviously, I've been here as an ag teacher for 35 years. I'm very impressed with the Crawford County Fair. It is the largest agricultural fair east of the Mississippi.
And Crawford County is an agricultural area. We're an outdoor area, and it seems like it's a perfect thing.
It is, and I'm delighted that we get to have some fair this year. and celebrate agriculture in Pennsylvania.
Coming back after the pandemic stuff, yes, I'm with you on that
Yes.
one. I'm with you on that
And hopefully we can educate people a little bit where their food comes from and maybe some fun facts.
And it's like, yeah, food comes from the grocery store. Well, okay, that's part of it, yeah, but there's a lot bigger story than that.
There is, and if people aren't understanding that after the pandemic, they're not paying attention. Right now we can't have chicken wings, right? We have a chicken shortage. And what's next? We don't know.
I just saw something about red meat here the other day.
Because of the hacking,
yeah,
yes.
Yeah, hacking, yeah. So, well, anyways, if you understand...
I forgot one thing.
Please.
A couple of these will be around the fairgrounds for picture spots. Originally it was going to be a cutout, but because of the pandemic, we're just going to have them up so that you can take your picture. Bring your children, take your picture with Diamond Jim.
So how about coming to the fair and not taking a picture? You got to take some pictures when you come to the fair.
I would think so. I do.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Okay.
Very good.
You ready for a fun fact?
Yes, please.
Do you know that bacon is one of the world's oldest meats?
Really?
You didn't know
I know
that?
it's one of my favorites.
Mine
personal
too.
favorite.
And everybody's.
It's like, I think on our Crawford County Outdoor Show, I've had more comments about our venison bourbon bacon meatballs. Everybody, how did I get that recipe? How did I get the recipe? So I've shared that recipe a million times.
Okay.
But when it says bacon on there, everybody seems to get interested in that.
The Baconators, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And you know from the vegetable department that parsley helps get rid of bad breath.
Really?
You might want to share that on your show.
Okay.
You know,
good
put
point.
parsley in everything.
Very good. Well, Alan, thank you for being with us here.
Well, thank you. I hope I shared enough information about Diamond Jim.
We'll keep an eye out for Diamond Jim.
You look for him. He's going to be all over the fairgrounds.
Awesome.
100 and some strong. Thank you.
Joining us now is Joe Hassinger. Joe, welcome here. And now you're the vendor coordinator here for the fair, right?
Yes.
Give us a big picture. What's it like here?
Well, we have approximately 250 vendors we deal with.
Okay.
That's inside, out, that's food, your home show, your grandstand vendors, food vendors, your games, your independent game vendors.
I know my family, when they want to come, everybody talks about their favorite food item that they're,
Yes.
I'm the hot sausage guy. Other ones, they all have their favorite place, and we all get back together and have our dinner together. But it's like you can't come to the Crawford County Fair without, hitting your favorite spot there.
No, I think that's the #1 reason people come to the fair. They like to come to eat, and we got a big variety of food here.
So what's involved in, if I am a vendor out there, what's involved in getting to the fair? What do I need to do?
Well, first thing, if you're a new vendor, you go online and fill out a vendor application. That's not a contract, it's just an application. And we file that, and then vendors that have been here previously, we send them out a contract, and hopefully they come back every year.
I've seen things that are growing in recent times, the food truck day or whatever, are things like that, are those increasing here at the fair, do you think?
Well, yes, we get more interest in that.
Okay.
Food, it's a tough one to get into our fair with. That's, once you get in, they don't want to leave, they want to stay.
I get that. I get that. And people that have come, they keep coming. They've come for many, many years, and they, like I said before, they have a favorite. I can speak from personal experience with that. You have a favorite thing, you want to hit that one again.
Yeah.
But it's okay to bring in some new, some new fresh blood there.
That's right.
Try
That's
something
right.
new.
Yes, we do. We have a couple of new vendors coming this year, and hopefully it works out for them.
Okay, and one thing too is here, we're looking down behind us here at the Midway. This is a place where tons of those places all set up shop, right?
They do. This is one of our main Midways right here, so it'll be full come Fair Week.
Well, that's awesome. So give us a big picture here. So what do you think about, this has been the screwiest year and a half here, going back forever. I think things are coming back. What do you think?
Oh, for sure. The feedback we're getting, our people are just ready to get out there and come. Even if there may not be rides this year, we're not going to have our big concerts, but that doesn't seem to matter. People want to get out, and the vendors are ready to get back in play too.
I'm with you on that one. That makes perfect sense. So if a couple things are different from the fair this year than they've been for the previous 74 fairs, that's okay. But there's always something new each year, and the big concerts and stuff, they'll be back in the future, I'm sure.
They'll be back, sure.
But all the stuff that you really like is going to be here, right?
Should be here, yes. Everything should be back to normal. I don't think you'll notice much difference at all when you come this year. It should be the same old fair.
So let me see if this is the right thing to say. Get out to the fair.
Get out to the fair,
okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, very good. Well, thanks for being with us.
You're welcome.
Joining us now, Mark Phelan. Mark, the grounds here at Crawford County Fairgrounds. So there's it doesn't just take care of itself.
No, it does not. Ultimately, we are getting ready for the fair each year, all summer long for that fair week. But along the way, there's other shows, there's horse shows, there's car shows, there's things like that. So we get ready for those, keep the grounds, looking nice, the grass, the buildings, but ultimately working for that end week.
How many folks work here? How many folks does it take to keep everything rolling?
There's one full-time guy, county employee, and then there's 4 per diem, we call them summer help, usually college kids. There are other maintenance staff around the county that get brought in to help towards the end for the big push, end of July, August, stuff like that.
I noticed this past weekend there was a huge horse show. I mean, it's like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They were just, trailers and horses and people walking around all over the place because I live just nearby and I come past all the time. So what's it take just for an event like that? What's it take for you guys to?
Well, those shows, Western Riding and Driving, I think there's 5 or 6 in a summer. They're big. It's multiple barns, 3 or 4 barns, cleaning the barns when they're done, garbage barrels, restrooms, mowing the grass. They have a lot of campers, making sure the electric's up to snuff. It's a lot, but it's a big show, and a lot of people come.
The horses make some deposits around the.
Yes.
That's a big deal too. I would imagine.
That is. Yes, we accumulate a lot of that over a summer and during the fair.
I noticed during the fair that you generally have a big machine going around taking care of that. Correct. During Fair Week. Okay. Did it have to happen when the horse show was going on, or?
After each horse show on Monday, that's what the guys will be doing now is cleaning up, hauling it down for the pile, and it gets rolled and stuff, and then the public comes and gets that.
So that's actually a popular thing.
Absolutely.
That for your garden when it's garden planting time.
Yep. Truckloads go out of here. Some people fill buckets in the back of their car or anything, and it's nice compost effort sits there.
So just keep that in the back of your mind when you're planting your garden. There's some fertilizer available for you for free, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
So what's it take to sort of keep the fairs? I mean, is 75th anniversary this year? Is there any 75-year-old buildings here? And it's like the buildings that we do have, keeping them
I was going to say, well, the dairy complex, of course, is only like 10 years old, but Racehorse 1, it might be 1970, 71. The exhibit buildings down at the other end where the home show displays are, vegetables and stuff like that, I bet you they're 55, 60 years old. I'm not positive, but I've seen pictures early 50s and late 40s where they're the first buildings built.
So keeping that building rolling, it doesn't just take care of itself, right?
Right.
I mean,
it's a lot of, we try and keep the same wood, but as it gets older, we replace it with steel. But a lot of painting, a lot of roofing, a lot of repairs as stuff ages, and each year you just try and make updates to make it better, and then the next year start over again, and you just try and do as much as you can because you can't get it all done in one summer.
Are there big projects that are coming up that you're aware of for future years?
One big one this year, we're going to try and get better ventilation in Exhibit 1, and that's the one with the quilts and the vegetables and stuff all the way back into the next building, the pies. We're going to install large exhaust fans because it gets hot in there.
Okay.
The buildings are built side by side, so there's not the best ventilation. It's got to be gable end to end, which apparently is kind of a directive for for COVID. You try and blow it out through the building instead of coming in through the eaves.
Sure.
So we're trying to get that done for the fair.
I noticed this past year there was a whole lot of trailers and boats and campers and things parked in the dairy building.
Yep.
Is that's an every year thing?
Every year.
So if you need a place to park your trailer over the winter time, that's going to protect it from
snow. Yeah. Some people just don't want them in their yards. They just don't have a place. But,
maybe you don't have a big driveway or whatever room for it.
Right.
Sure.
Boats, campers, trailers, fancy car, anything anybody wants to store, we charge by the foot depending on what building you're in. But the dairy complex, the used show, up a home show 1, different places like that. A lot of boats go in here and the different barns.
So what's it like being here? I mean, you're here like every day, right? Everybody else comes.
I usually stop once a day, but these guys are here every day. It's a lot. It's a long summer.
So that's a big deal, right?
Yeah, it absolutely is. I think a lot of people don't realize how much it gets used. A lot of people, why don't you use the fairgrounds more? if you look at our schedule, it's almost every single weekend, and this weekend was Western Riding and Driving, which you saw was a giant show.
Huge.
And the Hereford Association had a beef show up here at the same time, and then a car show's coming up here next week. It's constant. It's a lot.
I saw a big sign the other week about dinosaurs. What was up with the
Yeah,
dinosaurs? What's up with the dinosaurs?
Yeah, a guy called, and he had these dinosaurs, 12, 15, 20 of them, I can't remember how many. They were big, and he set them up down in the campground, and he charged carloads of people to come in, and they bring their kids in. It was a drive-through.
Oh, wow.
And they were just displays of different kinds of dinosaurs. It was pretty impressive. And then last I heard on Friday before the show, Saturday, Sunday, he had 1,500 reservations online.
Holy mackerel.
Yeah, it
Wow.
was well attended.
Wow.
It was also a rainy day, so a lot of people came anyways.
So this year there's not going to be a big concert, but there's still going to be things going on in the main sort of
in the grandstand.
In the
area,
grandstands
yeah.
with the truck and tractor pulls are going to go on, I think. And
I believe one truck and tractor pull, one demo, the Draft Horse 6-point hitch memorial for Chuck Burns on Tuesday, I think. But yeah, no big concerts. Draft horse pulls will also be in front of them.
Now I'm guessing each one of those things that you mentioned is going to make an issue for your guys to straighten it out after.
Yeah, it's not as much as the concerts, but cleaning the grandstand, emptying the garbage, the draft horse pulls, we get really involved in that, helping with the weights. Anything goes on that they need us for, we do, and sometimes it's a lot. Yep.
Well, let me just speak on behalf of all the visitors here. Thanks for what you're doing. I mean, to keep the fairgrounds available for all these things that people, I don't think people even realize how much stuff goes on here.
How much goes on all summer long. You're right. It makes it well worth it when you see how many people actually use it and enjoy it. You know, especially the horse shows and stuff like that.
With you on that one.
Yeah.
Well, Mark, thanks for being with us.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
And joining us now, Bruce Stainberg. Bruce, interesting here, this whole layout in front of what used to be the Sportsman's Club building. Tell us a story here. What's going on?
Well, approximately 3 years ago, our terrific chairperson, Phyllis Carr, she got a lot of volunteers involved with the 75th Crawford County Annual Fair Committee, and our job was to come up with ideas to make that 75th fair special. And during our first meeting with several terrific volunteers with great ideas, it was decided that maybe the best way to raise money for this event had to do with putting a paver or walkway down into the proposed history building, which is behind us.
Okay.
And so that's kind of how the idea started. And basically we did some research to find out what our costs would be involved, and decided what kind of money we would have to charge for these pavers. And basically there's 4 sizes, and when we first started, we wanted to make it so it was feasible for anyone to purchase bricks, and as well as those that wanted larger, maybe more advertisement type of arrangements. So
it looks like there's quite a lot here. Maybe a couple, maybe just a handful of spaces left over. Are you still looking for folks to jump in?
We are still looking for folks to jump in. I think there's approximately 460 some bricks that have been sold.
Wow.
And there are a few spaces left in this walkway. A couple of places for 4x8s and several for 13x13 pavers. The 13x19s and 6x13s have all been placed, as many as we can get into this walkway. To overcome that, we're going to move to the right, and where the man door enters the history building, we're going to build an additional patio there. And we've already sold several of the pavers to be placed in that area.
Very good. Well, it looks wonderful. It's really impressive.
Yes, we've been fortunate, worked with people that have done great work for us. Sunset Memorials have done the engraving on these bricks and pavers, and Trace Landscaping are the folks that installed the pavers.
So for down the road, if you still want to get involved, that's still an option, that's still a possibility?
Yes, we would still like to see people buy these pavers. Of course, like everyone else with the pandemic, this fair was supposed to have happened in 2020, and that definitely slowed down the sale of these pavers. We've had some new interest. Hopefully we'll have more, but people definitely don't want to wait. If they want their paver or brick to be seen this 75th fair, this 2021 fair, July 1st is the deadline. And so you want to get your orders in. That gives the engravers and the landscapers time to get those bricks finished and get them down for this year's fair.
When people come out to the fair, they come out by the thousands, so lots and lots of folks are going to get to see this, so that's a wonderful addition, I think.
Right, and there's lots of neat ideas here. When you come to the fair, if you take time to take a look at this patio and walkway, the things on these pavers are pretty unique. Some of them are just patrons of the fair over the years, exhibitors, memorials, some faith pavers are in here, and definitely advertisements from local businesses. And so that's one reason for the difference in size of these bricks and pavers.
Well, thank you, Bruce, for being with us here. We appreciate it.
One thing maybe I'd like to add is if you are interested in buying a brick or paver, you can go to the Crawford County Fair website, click on the Buy a Brick tab, and it'll take you through the process. Or you can see one of the members on the committee or stop at the fair office. And again, they range in prices. The smaller ones start at $70.75. There's a 6x13 that is a $170.75. And then a 13x13 is $325. And the 13x19, which is a large, and you can include your company logo or graphics on that, and that is $525.75.
Great. Well, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Joining us now, Phyllis Carr. Phyllis, thank you for organizing this group today. We certainly talked to a whole bunch of people and learned an awful lot about the fair and the 75th anniversary. Now that's a big deal. Tell us about that.
Well, we are so happy that we can have the activities that the 75th committee was able to put together. And of course, you know, we had the pandemic, and so that slowed us down for a while. But again, it looks like everything is opening up, and we're going to be able to actually have most of the activities that we hoped that we would.
That's wonderful. So anything that's unique about the 75th anniversary fair here, that things are going to be something that might be very different from other fair years?
Well, one thing is that we're reaching out to all people who have attended all 75 fairs.
Wow. Okay.
And we're asking.
I bet you there's a fair number of folks too who have.
Well, we took we asked them to sign a sheet in the office in 2019, and the list has gotten lost. So we're asking everyone that hears this message to be able to come to the fair on August 22nd.
Okay.
Report to the historical building. That is where the pathway of the brick pathway is. And from noon to 4, we're asking them to register. And we'll have them put their name in a box, and their individual picture will be taken. And then we're going to have a drawing. And the drawing will allow one person to help cut the dedication ribbon to the historical building.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then they also will be able to receive, another person will be able to receive a flag that has flown throughout the fair week, but they won't be able to pick that up until Sunday after the fair.
Oh, that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Well, one more time, talk about the big picture of things. 75 years, that's just I mean, that's just phenomenal. I mean, that's just a wonderful thing. The number of folks that are involved at putting the whole fair together and so on. Talk about all that just for a second, if you would.
Well, I have been one of the people that have attended all 75 fairs, and I can remember that the very first fair, I came to the very last day and was in the grandstand. And to watch how everything has grown from the little grandstand that I probably sat in 7 years ago. When I was 7 years old, I probably didn't realize how small it was, but looking over and seeing the large grandstand, the fairgrounds has really developed. And all departments have really developed, and the department heads and the chair people that co-chair that all departments, they all work so hard all year to get everything as nice as it is. And the maintenance department, our grounds are beautiful. And of course it can be used many times for different things during the year. But naturally, Fair Week, it all fills up, and I think that we all enjoy coming to the fair. We just maybe have something special to look at, but we enjoy it.
I'm sure everybody's got their favorite thing that they
Yes.
come to and see every year at the fair. And
Yes.
I know I do.
I thought that I heard you say that you've been coming to the fair as long as you have lived close to it, and you've enjoyed it.
Well, Phyllis, thank you very much for organizing all the folks that we were able to talk to today, and thanks you to all the folks who are putting the fair together again. And so, yeah, last year was crazy with the whole pandemic stuff,
right.
and it's great that it's coming back together here. So,
I have one more thing, and all 75-year attenders need to know is that at 4 o'clock we're going to have a group picture taken.
Oh,
and
okay.
again, it will be in front of the historical building.
Wow, okay.
And so I would like for August 22nd at 4 o'clock in front of the historical building, if they all will come at one time, at that time, we're going to try to get a group picture of everyone. And of course, it'll be put in the history book that we are putting together for the 75th.
Well, thank you for organizing the event today, that we can all talk to everybody and get out to the fair. I think that's not going to be too hard to make that point to everybody. They're going to come out to the fair this year. I think they'll be thrilled that it's back.
I hope so, and I hope they enjoy it.
Well, thank you all for joining us today on the show, and get out to the fair.